Hello and good evening. The Supreme Court today lost it with private telecom companies for failing to comply with its order to pay a justice gross revenue, that's AGR, of 1.47 lakh crore rupees to the government and threatened to hold them in contempt of court. We'll get you more on this in Newsnight tonight. I'm Gautam Roy. We'll also be talking about how the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi stirred up a huge political row on the martyrdom of CRPF braves in the Pulwama terror attack exactly a year ago, when the nation was remembering their supreme sacrifice. But first, headlines.
Headlines is sponsored by Wonder Cement. Ek perfect शुरुआत.
India and Portugal pledged to strengthen ties further. President Ramnath Kovind meets his Portuguese counterpart, who's visiting the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa also hold extensive talks. 14 pacts exchanged between the two sides. Nation remembers the Pulwama martyrs on the first anniversary of the horrific terror attack that claimed 40 CRPF braves. Prime Minister, Home Minister and Defence Minister pay tributes to the brave hearts. Memorial inaugurated in the memory of the martyrs at Letpora camp in Pulwama. The Supreme Court rejects Nirbhaya case convict Vinay Kumar Sharma's plea challenging rejection of his mercy petition by the President. The top court says no ground for judicial review. Also says all reports, including convict's medical report, are intact and he is mentally stable. The Supreme Court warns of contempt proceedings against officials of telecom companies, wondering is there no law left in the country over non-compliance of its order to pay a justice gross revenue of 1.47 lakh crore rupees to the telecom department. Second batch of foreign envoys who visited Jammu and Kashmir for 2 days this week meet National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in Delhi upon their return, share information about their tour. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says the government is ready to take additional steps apart from the budget to boost economic growth. Holds post-budget discussion with several business leaders and professionals. Niti Aayog also weighs in. And death toll in the COVID-19 outbreak nears 1,500 in China. The number of those infected jumps by 5,090 in a single day, taking the total beyond 65,000. Olympic Committee says Tokyo Games will be held as scheduled. And India maintains strong vigil to guard against COVID-19. Health Secretary says situation is under control. The government adds flyers from South Korea and Japan to the list of countries for mandatory screening at airports.
Ek perfect शुरुआत.
Well, Valentine's Day faded from the collective memory of the nation today. The same day, exactly a year ago, 40 Central Reserve Police Force personnel made the supreme sacrifice for the country in a cowardly and gory suicide terror attack on security forces convoy in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district. A memorial was inaugurated today dedicated to the martyrs not too far from the spot where they laid down their lives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other top leaders paid homage, but former Congress President Rahul Gandhi had a political agenda even in his remembrance of the martyrs, triggering a political row.
14th of February 2019, exactly 1 year ago, when the world was celebrating Valentine's Day as the Day of Love, India's enemy struck a gaudy blow. Humanity was shocked with the cowardly and barbaric attack terrorist unleashed, directed by his masters across the border. A convoy of 78 CRPF vehicles was heading from Jammu to Srinagar with nearly 2,500 Jawans. It was on National Highway 44 passing through Letpura near Avantipora. An explosive-laden car slipped into the convoy and then came an earth-shattering explosion. A bus was blown to the smithereens. There were mortal remains and blood everywhere. 40 Jawans were martyred. It was the worst terror attack on the security forces in Kashmir in the last 3 decades. 1 year after the Pulwama attack, the nation remembers the martyrs. Remembering the Jawans who made the supreme sacrifice, the CRPF has tweeted, "We did not forget, we did not forgive. We salute our brothers who sacrificed their lives in the service of the nation in Pulwama. Indebted, we stand with the families of our valiant martyrs. The day saw a memorial being inaugurated in the memory of the Pulwama martyrs at the CRPF's Lithpura camp. The memorial has been built in the camp close to the attack spot. Bengaluru resident Umesh Gopinath Jadhav has made a huge contribution to it by travelling through the year to the native places of all 40 martyrs and collecting soil from each place. He was invited as a special guest to the homage paying event at the Lithpura camp.
ये यात्रा थी कि हम भारतीय प्रथम हैं, इसका मोटो था, और जन्मभूमि कर्मभूमि भारत की मिट्टी का सम्मान। तो आप अगर देखेंगे तो 40 शहीदों की जो मिट्टी है, जहाँ पे उन्होंने अपना बचपन बिताया है और जहाँ पे अंततः वहाँ से मिट्टी ली है, तो ये काफ़ी इमोशनल है। एक माँ ने बेटे को खोया है। पेट्रियटिज्म 24/7/365 इन एक्शन क्या होता है, ये मुझे दिखाना था और निस्वार्थ में मुझे इन शहीदों के लिए, इन परिवार के लिए करना था। तो ये मेरा सम्मान नहीं है, ये शहीदों का सम्मान है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tributes to the Pulwama martyrs, tweeting, "Tribute to the brave martyrs who lost their lives in the gruesome Pulwama attack last year. They were exceptional individuals who devoted their lives to serving and protecting our nation. India will never forget their martyrdom." Home Minister Amit Shah also paid rich tributes to the martyrs, saying, "I pay homage to the martyrs of Pulwama attack. India will forever be grateful of our brave hearts and their families who made supreme sacrifice for the sovereignty and integrity of our motherland." Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also tweeted, saying, "Remembering the fallen CRPF personnel who were martyred during the dastardly attack in Pulwama on this day in 2019, India will never forget their sacrifice. Entire nation stands united against terrorism and we are committed to continue our fight against this menace." Minister of State for Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy paid homage to the martyrs at the National Police Memorial in Delhi. While remembering the martyrs, former Congress President Rahul Gandhi raised the question, who benefited the most from the attack, drawing fire from both the central government and the BJP.
ये दिन में भी आज राहुल गांधी गैर जिम्मेदारी से आज कंट्रोवर्शियल करने के लिए प्रयास कर रहे, अलग अलग गलत सवाल उठाने के लिए प्रयास कर रहे, ये बेबुनियाद सवाल उठाने के लिए प्रयास कर रहे, ये बहुत गलत है।
ये राहुल गांधी जी की पुरानी आदत है। जब भी देश के साथ खड़े होने का वक्त आता है, उस समय राहुल गांधी देश से नदारत रहते हैं, देश के साथ खड़े नहीं होते हैं और पूरे देश की भावनाओं को आहत करते हैं। आज जो कमेंट राहुल गांधी का आया है वो शर्मनाक कमेंट है। आप बेनिफिट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, आप शहीद में भी, आप हमारे जवानों के बीच भी फायदा देखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
The entire country across all divides was together when the attack happened. Everyone wanted the terrorists holed up in Pakistan to be taught a lesson. The Modi government followed the nation's sentiments in letter and spirit, upholding the honor of the martyrs by hitting back 12 days later on the 26th of February 2019. The terror camp in Pakistan's Balakot was obliterated, was attacked in an airstrike carried out by the Indian Air Force fighter jets. The aftermath of the Pulwama terror attack marked a paradigm shift in how India responds to terror attacks emanating from across the border. India also ramped up its international campaign to isolate Pakistan as Terroristan, and Pakistan is still facing the consequences of its cowardly acts. With Rama Tyagi in Pulwama, Sudhakar Das in Delhi, Newsnight Desk, TT India.
That brings up our In Focus tonight, which is fairly simple and straightforward. Why play politics over Pulwama? And to talk about it, we have R. Rajgopalan, senior journalist in our studio with us. Also Alok Bansal, well-known security expert with the India Foundation. Welcome to you both. First to you, R. Rajgopalan, what do you make of what Rahul Gandhi said today while tweeting out saying that he's remembering the supreme sacrifice of these martyrs who died exactly a year ago? He suddenly started wondering about benefit and profit and loss. Is that befitting?
I don't think so. Because having been a member of parliament for 15 years and having presided over the largest party of 135 years old, grand old party, Congress, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, as a sensible person, as a responsible person, should not have made that type of comments. Why he made that comment? Profit and loss. Politics is not profit and loss. Politics is all to serve the public, the voters, the constituents. But day before yesterday, drubbing by the people of Delhi, in Delhi polls assembly, Congress lost all deposit in 67 seats. Plus, added together, yesterday there was a vertical split in the Congress. Every leader criticized the leadership of Congress, and these are all certain things. Other than the Gautam, I could say a gentleman of Rahul Gandhi's stature who went to Chinese embassy and later denied it, later confirmed it, and on the issue of Rafale, on the floor of the parliament he said a total lie, and later he retracted, and Supreme Court he apologized. These are all the signs of frustration. Today Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statement that Pulwama who benefited, I would like to ensure that he is frustrated and negativism. And second thing, in 2009, if I recall your memory, Gautam, in 2009 there was a Tamil massacre genocide in Sri Lanka. During that time UPA was in power. Indian army was sent there to kill our own Indian Tamilians who settled down in northeastern province. That is the accusation of DMK and Vaiko. I am not saying from myself, I am quoting the DMK and Vaiko's statements. During that time our own military operations in northeastern killed at least lakhs of Tamilians. Who benefited from that? Is it not Congress? DMK is still echoing that type of sentiments of genocide. So therefore, these are all certain things we have to show a mirror to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, a great gentleman of Indian
I think
politics.
a lot of people have shown the mirror to Rahul Gandhi.
He has not learned the lesson. Having been 15 years in the parliament, he has not graduated. His major setback, Amethi defeat, till since then, till today, he has been, I should not use a very stronger word, blabbering in politics, which is not good for the grand old party.
Alok Prasad, normally we don't ask you to comment on political issues, but this is beyond politics, isn't it? It's quite distasteful.
There is no doubt. I think in the past we have had a tradition that when issues concerning national security, national interest, there has been a bipartisan consensus, there has been a multi-party consensus. Unfortunately, this seems to have broken, because for the first time a senior political leader has questioned profit and thereby questioning the motive, especially when you are dealing with the martyrdom of your soldiers and people from the security forces. There has by and large been a consensus as far as this country is concerned. One odd exceptional cases like DMK I am not talking of, but by and large all political parties in this country have by and large acknowledged the great sacrifices which our security forces have made. And in this particular case, when 40 CRPF personnel were dastardly killed by a terrorist, I think asking for motives or asking for profits or loss, I think is extremely unexpected from a senior political leader like Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who has headed a political party, the oldest political party today in India, and which ruled India for most of its years.
The reason, Gautam, I would like, sorry Bansal Sahab, मुझे लगता है जो the way in which Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been addressing the issues of late, I have a feeling that having been on the bail on National Herald case, such type of leaders should not comment on a national sensitive issues. 40 lives, especially the Central Reserve Police Protection Forces, lost their lives. How many families are in distress? You cannot make a joke of them. Second thing, the frustration in Mr. Rahul Gandhi is he cannot digest, he cannot see Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Prime Minister seat, because it was thought that the family will be ruling for ages. But for the last 10 years, this is not happening. That is why,
yes.
Even
it's not as if you can't question. You can always question and other leaders have questioned today as well. They have questioned what has happened in Pulwama attack, the probe, and what has been done for the families. The CRPF, we're putting it out on our screen as well. What all has the CRPF done for the next of kin of the Pulwama martyrs? Only one family, because of the issue of legal heir, things have been held up, but everybody else has been provided for in a fairly good manner, regardless of the fact that you cannot really compensate for the loss of a key family member, a beloved family member. And Alok, clearly you can question, but the government has these answers. It has done what is saying has been done. The CRPF is just one example.
See, there is no doubt that government tries to compensate the martyrs as best as it can, but life can never be compensated, and there is no love. That's why I feel all the more agitated that on this somber moment, somebody has to talk of profit and loss. We need to understand that this particular attack was a very, very significant dastardly attack, and I think thereafter the government and the security forces have gone out of their way to eliminate all the 5 people who were involved in this particular attack. And this also marked, consequent to this particular attack, the government also changed its strategy. We started going for preemption rather than reacting to actions, and as a result we eliminated large number of such attacks which were being planned by eliminating the nursery of such suicide bombers in Balakot. So this was a very, very significant movement, and I think on an event like this, when there should have been a national consensus, I feel probably either Mr. Rahul Gandhi did not understand the implication of his statement, or I really am at loss of words to understand, because he has been the president of Indian National Congress, the oldest, and the party which has also ruled India for maximum number of years. So I think I really don't know why he was doing it, and at a time when we are seeing that radicalization is rising, their internal security continues to be a major threat as far as the country is concerned, this sort of statements probably provide some sort of fuel and some sort of encouragement to these anti-national elements, and it's extremely demotivating for the security personnel, for the martyrs, families of the martyrs, and things like that. I think
that was the refrain of the government and BJP as well, BJP more so, because very clearly, Rajgopalan, that's what the BJP said, that you're speaking Pakistan's language. Pakistan would be, very, very pleased with what you're saying today.
Of course, what the official reaction of the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Samit Patra, summarized it very well. I don't want to go into the BJP Congress aspects, Gautam. My only focus is on Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because he has a wrong, advisors from his own party men. Mr. A.K. Anthony, does he endorse this type of statement? A.K. Anthony was UPS 10 years defense minister, and Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, a senior leader in the Congress, does he endorse Rahul Gandhi's statement? Only last week he said Danda se maro Pradhan Mantri ka. Today he is saying that martyrs is a profit and loss. Is he going to be a chartered accountant type of politics? He is going to do that. Profit and loss. What is this? In the same thing, if you gone through the social media reactions of Rahul Gandhi's statement, there are thousands of reactions trolling. They say that if you want to count on profit and loss, you lost your father. Who benefited from that? So this type of questions also arise, So there cannot be a sort of Mr. Rahul Gandhi type of negativism, because he is supported by the CPM and the Marxist ideologies. Sitaram Yechuri also echoed the same thing. We need not focus on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Even the left parties today criticize this Pulwama, because they thought that it is a profit for NDA, that profit for Mr. Narendra Modi. What are they going to pick pinholes from this? What is that? They must come clean on that. If they have some sort of thing during the parliament, they should have discussed it. So these are all certain things. It's a political issue. Branding them, the government or the Pulwama
They've been raising
strike.
questions about the probe. They've been seeking accountability. Already the government has made people in Balakot account for what happened in Pulwama, and after that, the kind of pressure that's been borne to bear made China blink, and China had to agree to Masood Azhar being designated in the way that he has now, and now consequences are still playing. Hafiz Saeed has now been sentenced to 11 years in jail, hasn't he, Alok Bansal?
See, there is no doubt about it. I think the pressure has been mounted. As I said, we changed strategy, and of course Hafiz Saeed has been sentenced to 2 concurrent sentences of 5.5 years.
5.5 years,
and that is actually an implication of the pressure that we have mounted on Pakistan, because Pakistan realizes that FATF could put it under blacklist, and that's why it's actually creating that sort of facade. Sentencing alone would not do. We need to see how they deal while he is sentenced, because you can sentence somebody and then grant him parole or put him in a 5-star hotel with all access to media and then call him that he is under jail is a debatable point. But there is no doubt that this Pulwama attack forced the government, or actually persuaded the government, to change its strategy, and we have since then adopted preemption, especially while dealing with suicide bombers, because there can be no reaction to a suicide bombing attack by a terrorist. It's always better, and world over, I think ever since 9/11, the global community has accepted that preemption should be the strategy of choice when you are dealing with suicide bombers and terrorists like of that type.
In fact, if you consider how Article 370 and 35A were revoked, that too, in fact, Raj Gopal, has been a game changer as far as the battle against terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir is
Of
also
course,
concerned.
of course. Now, as in the words of Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, har time par goli mato, goli gira do, goli ka bomb pataka, that type of statements were during that UPA regime. Are you going to have the same thing? That is what, as Mr. Alok Bansal says, is a preemptive action we have taken, and most of the chief of army staff during that time had taken a courageous stand. The Air Force was given a free hand, and army was given a free hand. That is the reason.
I just wanted to put out a data. 73% is the reduction in the number of martyrdom of our security personnel ever since revocation of Article 370 came into the valley.
If you remember a
August.
statement of Prime Minister during the election rally, even in Parliament, he said, "Main ghar mein ghus karke marunga." That type of anger he had. So that also reflected in the army's decision, Air Force decision, because the government of the present day gave full freedom to the army to have this type of counter attack on them. That is the reason why we are not, we are very silent, and we are very happy with this type of security environment during this past 1 year.
Right, and Alok Bansal, things have also changed on the ground, haven't they, in terms of how security personnel are now moved around, especially in that zone, the region of Jammu and Kashmir, because of what happened in Pulwama a year ago. It's just that the details are not really there in the public domain.
See, I think after Pulwama, a lot of actions have been taken, a lot of steps have been taken to make security forces more secure, because what had happened was that under the pressure, relentless pressure, the civilian traffic was allowed to mingle with the security forces, and that is how we had this dastardly attack. And now, of course, we have dedicated hours for the convoys to move, so that there is no intermingling. But as I said, foolproof security for convoys all the time across the entire route will always be impossible, and I think to that extent we need better intelligence, and reorganization of the state into 2 union territories has been actually a path-breaking decision, because since then large number of politicians of Jammu and Kashmir state who were hand in gloves with many non-state actors, terrorists and all, and who would actually help directly or indirectly these sort of attacks, have actually been bypassed, and now the security forces have been given a completely free hand, and this actually reflects in this 73% reduction. Also, we need to understand that one of the biggest problem was of radicalization, which was actually seeping in through net from the cyber world. Many of these sites have been blocked. Now internet is available in Jammu and Kashmir, but access to some of these sites which were actually preaching and espousing hatred have actually been blocked. Government has sanitized the number of sites which people can access, and this will probably in due course will be completely done, but this has eliminated to a very great extent attacks and radicalization of the youth, and that, the results are for everyone to see. The figures are there, statistics are there. You just compare the newspapers of 2 years
security
back.
personnel were martyred during the period of 173 days from 13th of February 2019. This includes the death toll that we had in Pulwama, and then during the similar period of 173 days from 5th of August 2019 to 24th of January, the number of casualties is just 22. So there's a huge difference.
There is no doubt, as I said, this reorganization, of course, and we'll see. And another big advantage of this reorganization, which probably was triggered by Pulwama, is that Ladakh, which had to bear the brunt of being part of Jammu and Kashmir, has been actually freed to attain its full potential. Now Ladakh is not bound with this sort of a disturbed area or where there is a problem. So Ladakh can attain its full potential. As far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, it's a union territory, so the central government can directly deal with it. At this moment, there is no state government to interfere with the security forces actions. And otherwise, what we had seen in between was, because of various reasons, there were huge interference with the actions of security forces. There were times when the terrorists were cornered and people were forced to come out and interfere with security forces operation, and that has allowed on many occasions the terrorists to get away. So I think all these sorts of actions have actually gone away, and that to that extent I always believe that this dastardly act actually forced the policymakers to realize the gravity of the situation and take some very, very worthwhile actions. And politicization of such tragic events where our soldiers lost their lives is, I think, unfortunate.
Rajgopalan, you want to add something?
Mr. Alok Bansal very well explained to your viewers multiple reasons. He spoke about the security environment. Let me take it from him on the political aspect. Having covered parliament for 40 long years, Gautam, my feeling is Mr. Rahul Gandhi is deprived of basic, knowledge on this type of security matters, because the inferences of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, if you remember, on many occasions he used to mislead the people. He cannot understand the nuances of the army. Apart from that, 303 members of parliament of BJP in 2019 was the culmination of certain assurances in the election manifesto which BJP gave, and they are implementing as that 370 division of Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, everything. This also a shootout of this Pulwama type of attacks, and the government has learned many things from this. And even let me take one more minute of explaining the CRPF of late has changed the strategy of the convoy movement. So these are all certain lessons we learnt also. And as Air Marshal Krishnaswamy put it in the column in his newspapers, saying that during his tenure as Chief of Air Staff, his hands were tied up by Mr. A.K. Antony and Dr. Manmohan Singh. So that conflict was also there. Now this government has given full freedom to Mr. Dhanova, Air Chief Marshal Dhanova, and General Bipin Rawat, like that. Therefore, you have this type of results. India is at peace thanks to Mr. Narendra Modi's intervention, which Rahul Gandhi should not echo the negativism and do not see profit and loss account in this type of a sorry state of affairs. The Congress has been routed in Delhi elections, and it has come to the 4th position in the national level. It is also having an existential crisis according to Jairam Ramesh. So these are certain internal problems of Congress. Instead of addressing that, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is focusing on the national issues, which he is having a very vacuum knowledge on, zero knowledge on security matters.
Let's hope that he amends his stand as far as this entire issue is concerned, and avoids making such statements in future if that is possible, and better sense prevails, maturity comes out, because that's not the kind of response that one expects from a senior member of the oldest party of the country, like Alok himself said. And we'll have to leave it there for the moment. We're completely out of time. Thanks a lot for joining us, Raj Gopalan and Alok Bansal, for tonight. Now, a group of 25 foreign envoys concluded a 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir and met National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in New Delhi today. The envoys' visit was organized by the government to help the foreign envoys know about the situation in the Union Territory. The program included meetings with civil and military authorities, some political representatives, as well as representatives of civil society and the business community. Last month, the government had taken 15 envoys to Jammu and Kashmir.
It was really good for 25 envoys, a very good opportunity to go there and see the valley for themselves, to talk to people. In fact, during the 2 days time that we spoke to groups of people from the civil society, journalists, traders, and businesswomen, and also locals, and the politicians, the government local officials and senior officials, and from the military units. And I think it's always good, to have a first account of the situation there. So it was very good and eye-opening.
India and Portugal signed 7 agreements to boost cooperation in a range of areas after Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa held extensive talks today. Investment, transport, ports, culture, industrial and intellectual property rights are some of the areas of cooperation. In fact, there were 14 pacts. Portugal is an important country for India in southern Europe. Bilateral ties have witnessed a steady progress in the last 15 years.
India and Portugal on Friday signed 14 agreements to boost cooperation in a range of areas. The agreements were signed after Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa held extensive talks. The pacts provide for cooperation in areas of investment, transport, ports, culture, and industrial and intellectual property rights. The documents were exchanged in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and visiting Portuguese President following delegation-level talks between the two leaders in New Delhi. Some of the main documents which were exchanged include the MOU for cooperation and development of National Maritime Complex at Lothal in Gujarat, MOU for cooperation in the field of industrial and intellectual property rights, agreement on audio-visual co-production between India and Portugal, MOU between Portuguese Diplomatic Institute and Foreign Services Institute for Training, cooperation agreement on maritime transport and port development, joint declaration on India and Portugal mobility partnership, MOU between Invest India and Startup Portugal. Later, President Ramnath Kovind also met the visiting president and hosted a banquet in his honor.
Our bilateral economic ties are on the rise. In our discussions today, President Marcelo and I were happy to note that our bilateral trade has crossed $1 billion. Two-way investments are also rising. We agreed to harness the full potential of bilateral engagement in sectors like infrastructure, blue economy, renewable energy, water and waste management, IT, tourism and hospitality.
The fact of knowing that there is a support, and also the Portuguese support, for your belonging as permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations. Because it's a kind of recognition of your role in the world. It's not just a problem of population, not even of economic growth, not even of social power, not only of being the largest democracy in the world, but the fact that you are a key country for the balance of power in the world.
Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa arrived in India on Thursday on a 4-day visit, his first to India. The last visit by a Portuguese president to India was in 2007. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation. In the morning, the Portuguese president was accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Portugal is an important country for India and southern Europe, and bilateral ties have witnessed a steady progress in the last 15 years. With Sudhir Yadav, Amritpal Singh, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, India-Portugal ties are centuries old, but in recent times there has been renewed momentum in the bilateral relationship, with progress being made across several sectors. Our correspondent Manoman Bhattacharya has filed this report from Lisbon.
Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, is a city full of color and character. This European city stands out with its unique architecture, white sidewalks, characteristic hills and trams, and statues that mark grand squares with fountains in full bloom. India-Portugal ties of kinship date back over 500 years, when Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama led a voyage from Portugal's shores to Calicut on the coast of Kerala, breaking the Venetian trade monopoly through land and expanding the frontiers of Portuguese trade via sea. In recent times, political ties between India and Portugal have got a fillip through frequent high-level visits and several agreements cutting across sectors. Defence is a promising sphere of bilateral cooperation, and a relatively new one too, with the first defence MOU signed only in 2017.
unmanned air systems, on the naval sector, and also in the aeronautic and space as well. We have progressed quite well. At this stage, there are effective engagement between Indian companies and Portuguese companies that I believe that in near term will have effective results, either on transferring technology to India and also introducing some factory over there and training centers for this kind of domains, industrial domains and technological domains.
Marine science and oceanography is another area where cooperation is set to grow.
Our cooperation link started about 20 years ago with the National Institute of Oceanography in the area of marine robotics to develop autonomous robots for ocean exploration. And together we developed what I think was the first civilian prototype of such a system. And ever since we have been cooperating on the development of other kinds of robots for scientific applications.
Portugal has become a springboard for Indian companies to set base and expand to the rest of Europe.
Portugal was very important for us to launch other countries because of the geographic region that we are at the moment. Also, we have really good relationships with most of the countries around Europe, South America, even Africa. So it helped us in that relationship, in that bit, it helped us a lot.
Post-Brexit, Portugal aims to give a foothold to companies based in UK and looking to expand further into Europe.
Portuguese Prime Minister has actually recently declared again when he visited India that he would like to receive companies who are based in the UK to keep their base in the UK but to have a foot in the EU in Portugal.
With Portuguese platforms hand-holding Indian businesses, there are opportunities waiting for Indian startups and entrepreneurs.
We give them complete assistance, we do hand-holding for them. From India, we bring them here, we assist them in setting up the business.
Diversity and plurality is a shared value in India and Portugal. Abdul Wakil, only the second Muslim to come to Portugal in 1956, is a well-respected person of Indian origin in Portugal who was conferred with the Prasar Bharati Samman by India, and the Portuguese government has worked with him to organize interreligious dialogues in Portugal.
I do a lot of interreligious dialogue in the mosque. When the President Marcelo was there, we had 17 or 18 religions lined up, each one reading a sentence of their religion.
Political ties, development cooperation, commercial collaboration, people-to-people ties, and shared values of democracy and plurality together form a strong foundation of the India-Portugal partnership.
Now, another delaying tactic to evade the hangman's noose by one of Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case convicts, Vinay Sharma, bit the dust today in the Supreme Court. It dismissed the plea where President's rejection of the death row convict's mercy petition had been challenged. Here's more.
The Supreme Court has dismissed the plea of Vinay Sharma, one of the 4 death row convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case. Vinay had challenged the rejection of his mercy petition by the President, as he said that no ground was made out for judicial review of the rejection of the mercy petition. It also stated that all material, including Sharma's medical report, was placed before the President, who did apply his mind in rejection of the mercy plea.
ये जो प्रोसीजर है उसको ये कैसे लूप होल्स का यूज करे, कैसे उसका मजाक बना रहे हैं, तो मैं कहूँगी कि अगर ये लूप होल्स का भी यूज करेंगे तब भी हार्डली 1 मंथ, इससे ज़्यादा किसी भी हाल में इस केस को ये डिले नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि निर्भया को जल्दी ही जस्टिस मिलेगा और इन चारों को हैंग किया जाए.
Vinay Sharma had claimed on Thursday that while rejecting his mercy plea, the President did not consider his mental illness following torture in jail. The centre, however, had opposed his claim and produced a medical report dated February 12th, which said he was fit and had a sound mind. The apex court also dismissed the contention of Sharma that he is mentally ill, saying the medical report suggests he is stable. Parents of Nirbhaya have now demanded that the convicts be hanged without any further delay.
ये मर्सी खारिज होने के बाद ये याचिका थी, तो इतने बार खारिज होने के बाद तो इसलिए उम्मीद था कि खारिज होगी, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में बार-बार ये घूम के आया है।
एक ही केस 3 बार लोअर कोर्ट में, 3 बार हाई कोर्ट में, 3 बार सुप्रीम कोर्ट में गई है। उसके बावजूद भी राष्ट्रपति का ने जब खारिज कर दिया तो हमें तो पता था कि खारिज होगा।
The trial court in Delhi had on January 31st stayed till further orders execution of 4 convicts in the case: Mukesh Kumar Singh, Pawan Gupta, Vinay Kumar Sharma and Akshay Kumar. The apex court has earlier dismissed petitions filed by convicts Mukesh and Akshay challenging the rejection of their mercy petition by the president. Pawan Gupta has not yet filed a curative petition, the last and final legal remedy available to a person, which is decided in chamber. Pawan has also the option of filing a mercy plea. Meanwhile, a Delhi court will hear the plea filed by Nirbhaya's parents seeking fresh death warrants against the convicts on Monday. With inputs from Vikas Sarthi in New Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
India is keeping a tight vigil to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the country. Flyers from South Korea and Japan have been added to the list of countries who will be put through mandatory screening at the country's 21 airports. In China, the number of new cases of infection jumped by nearly 5,000 on a single day, taking the total number beyond 65,000. The death toll has also crossed 1,500. Here's the latest.
China and the world continue to grapple with the spread of COVID-19. In China, the official death toll from the novel coronavirus outbreak in Hubei province rose by 121 today, bringing the total death toll to 1,500. As per Hubei's Provincial Health Commission report, nearly 5,000 new confirmed cases reported yesterday. The total number of confirmed coronavirus cases soared up to 65,000 on national level, confirmed by the National Health Commission on Friday. Japan and the Philippines have 1 death case each. 6 health workers engaged in the treatment of people affected by the coronavirus have also died, and more than 1,700 health workers are infected. China has allocated 80.55 billion yuan to deal with this threat. Meanwhile, US has promised to help North Korea to fight with coronavirus. On the other hand, Indian embassy in Tokyo in a statement said 3 Indian crew members on board Diamond Prince cruise ship who have tested positive for COVID-19 have been contacted and are currently receiving treatment at medical facilities. Meanwhile, a baby girl was discharged from a hospital in South China's Guangdong province following a family of 4 who left the hospital on the previous day. 6 patients cured of the novel coronavirus pneumonia in East China's Shanghai city volunteered to donate their plasma for outbreak control. Meanwhile, the International Olympic Committee and the Tokyo Olympic Organization Committee have said that the World Health Organization has given a go-ahead to the Olympic Games after reviewing the situation.
The advice that we've received externally from WHO is that there's no case for any contingency plans of cancelling the Games or moving the Games. The measures being taken by the relevant authorities are properly addressing the situation.
India is working to plug every possible loophole to prevent a deadly coronavirus epidemic. India is monitoring the new coronavirus outbreak at the highest level. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appreciated the high-level commitment to duty showcased by Air India and Ministry of Health officials who conducted evacuation operation of the stranded Indians in Wuhan. The Prime Minister also issued a letter of appreciation to the team members of the evacuation operations. This letter would be handed over to the crew by the Minister of State for Civil Aviation. Air India conducted emergency evacuation operations from the Wuhan city, which is the epicenter of widely spreading novel coronavirus flu. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be visiting Varanasi on a day's visit on the 16th of February. He was scheduled to participate in the closing ceremony of the centenary celebrations of Sri Jagat Guru Vishwaradhya Gurukul. The PM will also dedicate to the nation the Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Memorial Centre. At the event, the Prime Minister will also unveil the 63-foot tall Panchaloha statue of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay. The PM will later address a public function and will be dedicating over 30 projects to the nation, including a 430-bed super speciality government hospital at Kashi Hindu Vishwavidyalaya and a 74-bed psychiatry hospital at BHU. The PM will also be flagging off the IRCTC's Mahakal Express through a video link. The train will connect the 3 Jyotirling pilgrim centres, Varanasi, Ujjain and Omkareshwar. This would be the first overnight journey for a private train in the country. Prime Minister shall also inaugurate the 2-day Kashi Ek Roop Anek exhibition at Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Hastakala Sankul. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu delivered the convocation address at the 58th convocation ceremony of the Indian Agricultural Research Institute in New Delhi. The Vice President stressed on the need for increasing food production not only for our country but for the food security of the entire world.
Need for increasing food production, not only for our food security, but also for the security of food security of the world. It's our duty. As a country with agriculture background, we must focus. For a country like India, you cannot depend on imported food security. You need to develop homegrown food security at all levels, homegrown food security. That should be the priority for all of us. We need to come out with more production, more varieties, more qualities, and more nutritious.
The Supreme Court today directed the managing directors of telecom companies to explain why contempt action should not be taken against them for non-compliance of its order to pay adjusted gross revenue, that's AGR, of 1.47 lakh crore rupees to the Department of Telecommunications. A bench of Justices Arun Mishra, S. Abdul Nazir and M. R. Shah expressed anguish over this notification by DOT's desk officer, staying the effect of its verdict in the AGR matter. They also said that the DOT is not above the Supreme Court. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that if required, the government would take more steps beyond the announcements made in the Union Budget 2020-21 to boost economic activities. She made the remarks at an interactive session on Budget and Beyond with professionals from asset management, wealth advisory, tax consultancy and other related industries. Here's more.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held an interactive session on Budget and Beyond with professionals from asset management, wealth advisory, tax consultancy and other related industries in New Delhi on Friday. The participants made several suggestions to boost economic activities in the country. The Finance Minister said that perhaps it was a first budget of its kind which had a positive impact on the bonds, share and currency markets.
It is one budget where the impact on the equity market, the bond market and also the currency have had a positive impact. But of course we are open to hear a lot more from all of you also, that as and when the tweakings will have to happen to the budget, or as and when more has to be done beyond the budget, post the budget, we are willing.
During the interactive session, participants made suggestions for increasing consumption, giving more money into the hands of consumers, measures required to boost liquidity and host of suggestions for the capital markets. Several suggestions were also made on the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme to deal with the disputes related to the direct taxes.
Several suggestions have been made here, and as you may have also read yesterday that cabinet meeting has been held and certain modifications are being made to this scheme. I think by today evening, the details of the scheme, or maybe at the most by tomorrow afternoon, the details of the modified scheme will be put up in the public domain, and that is what we are going to take it to the Parliament.
Many other suggestions were also made to ease the problems faced by the non-resident Indians and MSMEs and to expand the tax net to include the smaller companies. The Finance Minister assured the participants that her ministry would look into all the suggestions. The Finance Minister had earlier similar interactive sessions in Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata last week. She said that the Finance Ministry will provide details of the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme soon. Parliament approval will be required before the scheme is implemented. With inputs from Ajay Mishra in New Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat is an initiative that is working to increase interaction between different cultures. Traditional Khasi folk music has been appreciated by the people throughout the world. One of the plucked stringed instruments, that the Duitara, focuses on different playing techniques and tunes. Legendary Duitara player Gloucester Nongbed has been playing the instrument since childhood. Take a look. The duitara, stringed instrument of the Khasis, is usually played to accompany songs and ballads. A Khasi who plays the duitara is an instrumentalist and a singer, where folk tales, myths and his ancestral thoughts are channeled out through the songs. Gloucester Nongbed had become interested in music ever since the time he heard his first notes on his parents' radio. Fate took a dramatic turn one day when, at the behest of his uncle, he left the guitar and took up playing the duitara. He would dive deep into the indigenous music of his ancestors, and this would transform him dramatically.
I try to make a duitara. First time I make my own duitara. Then my uncle, late uncle, then he appreciated me very much. He said that you could play the duitara very well. You play very well. Learn to play duitara, your own indigenous music. And give up this guitar. It sounds very noisy, no? Like that. Then that is what made me interested in Khasi folk music.
Khasi music has deep values for its people, for it carries the stories and memories of its forefathers.
Khasi folk music has got deep meaning to a man who take it to his heart. We need somebody like you people, no, Durasan. You can display very much to the outside world our music, our Khasi music.
It's time now to get you some more updates from around the country in our regional roundup.
A court in Pune hearing the Elgar Parishad case today passed an order to transfer the case to a special NIA court in Mumbai. The centre had last month transferred the probe into the case from the Pune police to the NIA. In Himachal Pradesh, the Mask Festival, also known as Fugli Festival, is being celebrated with great pomp and glory in the Kullu district. The fest is a major attraction for the tourists. One civilian was killed and 2 injured in shelling by Pakistan in Shahpur area of Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. The injured were taken to Raja Sukhdev Singh District Hospital in Poonch. Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari flagged off Mumbai-Pune electric bus in Mumbai. It is the first electric intercity bus in the country. J&K's Lieutenant Governor and Chairman of Sri Amarnath Ji Shrine Board, Girish Chandra Murmu, presided over the 37th board meeting that was held in Jammu. Amarnath Yatra will start from 23rd June and will conclude on 3rd August. Lieutenant General B.S. Raju will take over as the new 15 Corps commander in Srinagar on March 1st. The 15 Corps is responsible for counter-terrorist and counter-infiltration operations in the entire Kashmir Valley. Enforcement Directorate has filed charge sheet naming businessman S.S. Babu related to Moin Qureshi case. This is the second charge sheet in the matter filed by ED. S.S. Babu is 9th accused in the matter. ED charge sheet states that new lead on money trail found during probe.
Let's get you some updates from around the globe now in our World Wrap.
Airbus has teamed up with the Quebec government to buy Bombardier's 33.5% stake in the A220 passenger jet program, completing the Canadian firm's exit from civil aviation and boosting Airbus' position in a new battleground with Boeing. The US Justice Department has added new criminal charges against Chinese tech giant Huawei, accusing the company of a brazen scheme to steal trade secrets from competitors in America. It also alleges the company provided surveillance equipment to Iran and that it sought to conceal business that it was doing in North Korea despite economic sanctions there. A large iceberg has broken off from Pine Island Glacier on the edge of Antarctica. According to satellite images from the European Space Agency, the iceberg is 300 square kilometers in size and following its split from the glacier quickly shattered into pieces. France has said that China's tech giant Huawei won't be excluded from the country's 5G network rollout, but the government will set restrictions to protect France's sovereignty and address potential security risks. The US Senate has passed an Iran war powers resolution to limit the US President Donald Trump's ability to wage war against Iran. The legislation aims to rein in his ability to use military action against Iran without congressional approval. 8 of Trump's fellow Republicans joined Democrats to pass the war powers resolution by 55-45. Turkey strengthened its military presence in Syria as Turkish Defense Minister warned Ankara will use force against rebel groups violating a ceasefire in Idlib. Turkey has allied with some rebels in Idlib opposed to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and has boosted its troops, arms and equipment in the region. US Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said that US President Donald Trump's comments this week weighing in on the trial of his longtime associate Roger Stone amount to political interference in the judiciary and are an abuse of power. She also said that the president is again trying to manipulate federal law enforcement to serve his political interest.
And finally, teen pop sensation Billie Eilish has come out with the official theme song of Daniel Craig's upcoming James Bond movie, No Time to Die. The 18-year-old singer, who has written the song with her brother Phineas O'Connell, is the youngest artist in history to record the theme track for the long-running spy franchise. The singer recently won 5 Grammy Awards. Well, No Time to Die will mark the last outing for Daniel Craig as the suave 007 agent. And here it is, the first look and feel of the title track of No Time to Die. Eilish follows in the footsteps of British singers Adele and Sam Smith, who won an Oscar each for their songs in Skyfall and Spectre.
Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets. You just didn't get to yours yet.
That I've fallen for a lie. You were never on my side. Fool me once, fool me twice. Higher dare the paradise. Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die.
And that's it for now in Newsnight. But for all the latest, do keep watching BD India.